No, you didn't.
I absolutely did.
That like, why would you do that?
Jerry was talking about Dune. What's going on, guys? I didn't. I actually, it was an accident. I didn't mean to. It just happened. Um, I swear it was accidental though.
What? What an asshole.
So we are back. We are talking. We're gonna do our week 7 predictions. I apologize for running a little bit late. Jules started daycare this week, so it's been a long week. Shout out to Window because I feel like I'm channeling him right now, as Jerry mentioned. So we're gonna do week 7 predictions. I didn't get all the slap bets, unfortunately. I asked so kindly for all of you in the Facebook group to help me out, go through to look through the podcast, look at your slap bets, figure out if you have any. I know there were some identified, but I didn't unfortunately get to any slap bets made on the podcast. I will go through those and I will do those next week, which is the Amber Rift grading spectacular. That'll be next week since it's week 8 grades. But for right now, in this week, we're going to go through the 6 slap bets that were made during the draft and see exactly where they stand. There have been a lot of them where players have gotten injured. There are a lot of really close ones still. There's only one slap bet that has been decided from the draft, which I lost to Jason Smith. And I'll mention that one. Didn't create a graphic for that because it was a very quick one. And I know that Jerry also won a slap bet with Alex that he made on the pod, which we'll get to next week. So, because Alex runs super bad
Can't wait to see you,
slap
buddy.
bets.
Can't wait to see you.
So, let's get into the week 6 recap.
Week 7?
Week
6?
Week,
Yeah, week 6.
Week 6 recap. Starting with my matchup, I am relieved that this was a huge win for me. Especially again, both Brad and I were 4-1, and
Your run good continues. We know.
Yeah, like I'm to be fair, like I am number 1 in points scored. I think I have one of the better teams in the league right now, like that's in terms of performance, but they're absolutely overperforming. This is a week I should have lost with. If you look at the first 4 guys on my roster, Dak 3.22, James Conner 4.6, Trey Sermon 2.9, filling in for Jonathan Taylor, Chris Olave -1. I thought I was dead, and
I mean,
Godwin threw up 30 burger.
I think Las Vegas getting you 13 is helpful. Chris Godwin, obviously, like you said, gives you 30. George Kittle, I think, had his best game of the year, giving you 20. It happened to be in a week where you had people dramatically underperform. You also had multiple people give you their best week of the season. That's helpful.
Yeah. I don't know if it was Kittle's best week of the season. I'm not sure about that one.
It was.
Okay. But I
definitely
knew...
Godwin's.
Definitely Godwin's, for sure.
Yeah. Honestly, big surprise that Trey Sermon did as poorly as he did. In a close game, he just... I mean, I think he got touches. He just couldn't...
Didn't do anything with him. He is injured.
Couldn't get anywhere, right? I mean...
He is injured right now. He's nursing an injury, but he played until the 4th quarter, so there's no excuse in terms of, like...
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. He got 18 touches. Yeah. Like, you expect more than 2.9 points on 18 touches.
Well, and I definitely had the better shake of this matchup because Brad had Jay Jetta's Achane, Mostert all on bye.
And he just lost Nico Collins to the IR.
Like... I should have won this matchup from the jump, and my team made it a lot closer than it needed to be, thanks to those underperformances. But huge win to be 5-1 with Zach. What's interesting about the standings, I don't know if anyone's looked. There are literally it's like 2 teams at 5-1, 2 teams at 4-2, 2 teams at 3-3, 2 teams at 2-4, and 2 teams at 1-5. It is. As Thanos would say, balanced, as all things should be.
I will say I do like that. As poorly as my team has done, I'm only like 2 games out of the playoffs, I think, right now. Like from, I think, 5th and maybe it's 3 games, but it's not an insurmountable amount with more than half the season to go, which is helpful.
Yep, but that's one of the things where it's like being 5-1 now, knocking Brad down 1 peg on the standings, and it's just Zach and I at the top. And I will tell you, looking ahead of the calendar, I've got McMillan this week. I've got you next week. So I play the 2 1-win teams. But, of course, your team is getting healthier. McMillan's...
Hopefully.
is less about the health and more about the players.
Hot garbage.
Yeah, well, we'll get there.
The dumpster fire that is.
Meanwhile, looking at Brad's team, you know, he also had some disappointing performances. Like I said, the Colts D certainly didn't do him any favors, but the big ones were Calvin Ridley, Keon Coleman, and Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, I mean Calvin Ridley's the worst of it there. Keon Coleman's is it's a dart throw. Like you still can't complain. He got almost actually I think he did get 50 combined out of his quarterbacks. Like you can't complain there. Yeah. I told you guys though I have Josh Allen in my other league. I'm sorry, Brad, you were never making this comeback. You needed pretty much the same amount of points as I needed out of Josh Allen to get the win, so it just wasn't going to happen for you.
The biggest red flag is Brandon Ayuk because he's just been so inconsistent this year.
Yeah, I don't know what to think of him. I think he came on pretty strong at the end of last season, but he's only had one good game. He's been very mid outside of one game this year.
Right. And so he
hasn't scored a touchdown. He has not scored a touchdown this year.
That's crazy. I mean, and the targets are there. He hasn't. He's had there. I will say though, 4 of the 6 games this year, he's had 4 or 5 targets, and then 2 of the 6 games he had 10 or more. So yeah. it's like, but I feel like the volume is there ish.
Yeah, I mean he's getting 8 targets a game. It's just, yeah, he's really only hit in one game.
That's the thing. And on the flip side, though, the cause where, for a celebration for Brad's team is Bucky Irving's kind of looking like he might be emerging. Granted, it was a, 50 burger from the...
That was a weird game.
Yeah.
It was like the Bucks were way up early. They were up like 17-0, and then all of a sudden they're losing, and then they reel off, I think, like 30 straight points. That was just a weird game.
But anytime the backup running back is getting the start... in place of Rachaad White, he puts up his
Rachaad White's hot garbage.
Season high in carries, season high in yardage, gets a tutty, and puts up a season high in points. Bucky Irving is definitely a cause for celebration for Brad's team. The question is now with White coming back into the fold this week, how does that affect Irving's value? Granted, Zamir,
I think he's carved out a pretty good role.
Honestly, though, with Brad's team, he's got running back pieces between Pollard, Irving, Dowdle.
I think we got to remember, like he had arguably his 2 best players sitting on the bench this week on a bye, and he loses by 2. It's tough. It's a tough loss, but
yeah, but he's definitely got a strong roster. He should be in the playoffs come season's end as of right now. Should be getting a good grade. So moving on to our second recap. This was Jason in the chat was relieved to get this huge win, putting up 150. Was it the highest score of the week? I think it might have been.
Yes, it was.
So,
everybody kind of came together. What's good on paper translated to the field for once.
Keyword for once. No, and it sends Scotty to 2-4 after a really bad week from Scotty. What were your takeaways as far as this matchup?
The first thing I think that Jason not just the matchup, but overall on his team, he should feel real happy that it looks like Caleb Williams is turning into an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
Granted, it was against the Jaguars in London and nobody was watching the game, but he had a great day. Looks like he might actually be able to start him moving forward. But he even didn't have, Joe Mixon obviously went off, but outside of that, everybody else was kind of normal. CD only gets 12.5. Amon-Ra gets 11.5. DK only got him 6, and somehow he still puts up 150. I wonder what's going to happen when Singletary. Actually, he has Singletary. Never mind, he's good. I don't know how much you want to bank on the Giants overall, but 19.5 points is in a loss is nothing to complain about.
Right.
Evan Ingram looks like he's back in fucking form. He looked awesome, and I think that's going to really help Jason moving forward, having him as his tight end.
Yeah, all of Jason's guys went off. I do think Jason's team is a playoff team on paper. One of the biggest boosts that he might get is Amari Cooper's trade to Buffalo. Not that he necessarily needs wide receiver help. Obviously, he's got CD and Sun God and DK, but he doesn't necessarily have a lot of wide receiver depth if you look at his bench. He's got Wan'Dale Robinson, who's actually been a surprisingly beneficial wide receiver this year.
Malik Neighbors being out helps that.
but but
Daniel Jones isn't only throwing to Malik Neighbors anymore.
but it's really Amari Cooper's his backup wide receiver, and on the bye weeks you're going to need some depth. I do.
Yeah, no, I think it's an upgrade.
Yeah,
I think it's an upgrade.
Huge. So I mean, his team looks very good. His team looks poised to make a little push here in the midseason, assuming they can all stay healthy. Meanwhile, Scotty, this might have been his worst week of the year, and he's still third in scoring.
I mean, he started two people who didn't play.
Yeah.
Like, come on, be better, try harder.
Yeah, I mean, you get what you pay for.
I mean, he in his flex he started James Cook. He could have had Alan Lazard. That's 20 points. I mean, he could have started Bo Nix. Not that he would have felt great about that going into it, but hell, add 40 points to his score. Where are we at?
120.
That's just replace. He wasn't winning this week. He played against the top scorer, but it's a tough week, especially Jerome Ford gets hurt. And there's talks that Chubb might be back next week.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Like, I thought I read something that there's a possibility that he could be coming back in the near future.
Well,
and then it just didn't help that he didn't get a ton from the bigger name people that he was expecting to. Geno didn't do anything. Well, didn't do anything. Geno didn't have a good game. Jamar Chase had a very mid game. Gibbs was, despite the 40-point or 50-point explosion from Detroit, didn't find the end zone, I don't believe.
So Scotty did get rid of Jerome Ford after his injury, understandably. Scotty's had some surprising performances. Geno Smith is actually QB7 right now, but QB has been a wildly inconsistent position, more so this year than previous years. But Jamar Chase, the wide receiver 1 in fantasy, Jaden Reed, the wide receiver 3 in fantasy, he's been getting some surprise performances. If I told you Alan Lazard was wide receiver 8 because of that 20-point performance,
I'm very curious what's going to happen with the Jets offense with Devontae getting there.
I think
Alan Lazard's been his guy. I mean, he's been Aaron Rodgers' guy so far.
But again, with Devontae coming into the picture, that's going to eat into some of that value, obviously, almost for sure. The question really with Scotty's team is, can it be consistent? I mean, I will say that Big Tony looks like a pretty big swing and a miss at 9 overall with each passing week.
He does what he does, and he's going to go out there and he's not going to take care of himself, and he's going to just take hits. And
and Jason Smith did mention in the chat he grabbed Ray Davis strategically, when rumors of Cook being out came out Saturday to, I guess, deprive Scotty of being able to, grab the backup. But not that it would matter because Scotty started 2 players who were out anyway. So you get what you deserve, Scotty. We're moving on. So
set your lineups. Don't start people that aren't playing. Come on.
Well, that's 2 ice bagels for Scotty, and I had one with Chris Olave, and I think we're gonna get to what I think is gonna be a record for ice bagels in one game. And so Scotty also said he was literally staring at Davis on waivers when Jason Smith picked him up, trying to figure out who to drop for him. So, not that it would have mattered. So moving on to your matchup against Zach and his newly named Kamara Harris 2024. I told him he should have named his team that from the jump. I don't know why he took so long. This is just... You just can't get a break.
No. I can't. No. I'm in the combination of bye week and injury hell, and literally it's 5 minutes to the 9:30 game, and I'm like, maybe I should start Keenan Allen over Xavier Legette. Maybe I should. And I thought about it, and I was like, Keenan Allen just hasn't been able to connect this year. He obviously missed a couple of games early, and of course 5 for 41 and 2 touchdowns. It's and that makes the difference.
Yeah.
It doesn't help. Braylon Allen gets a touchdown called back on a bullshit holding call. Didn't affect the touchdown. Garrett Wilson then immediately in the next play drops the touchdown pass. It's just
yeah,
I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I if you had told me that the Broncos were going to only get 2 against the Chargers, I mean, if they have a normal week, they put up 6 points, I get a win. Yeah, I mean, I guess 6 points would have been a tie. In
A
this
tie.
situation.
Would
Would have been a tie.
It would have been
first tie.
so great. We're still waiting
But
for our
no,
league's
like
first
I'm sitting
tie.
there watching it, and I'm just like, there's no way I get there. Like there's just Braylon Allen. Like early in the game, like Braylon Allen just wasn't getting the amount of work that he'd seen in previous games, and I was like, he has to vulture a touchdown if he's going to have it. I mean, he had 3 carries for 8 yards. Like there was a point where Braylon Allen, I think, was essentially like had like a 50-50 share for a couple of games. Like he had 19 carries in 2. I mean, if you add up the receptions, like in that little 3-week stretch there, 4-week stretch, I mean, he had 26, 28, 30. I mean, he was getting 10 touches a game. And then this game, he gets 3 touches, touchdown called back on a hold. It's frustrating. And I couldn't do anything. I didn't know what I could pick up. Obviously, Kareem Hunt on a bye sucks for me in that situation. Christian McCaffrey, who knows if he's ever going to fucking play.
Yeah.
Kind of just is what it is. And not that it would have made a difference, but it's like, same deal. I like last minute was thinking about switching in Aaron Rodgers and Trevor Lawrence. And I stuck with Lawrence. Not a huge difference.
No.
But I was so frustrated in the middle of the game though, because Aaron Rodgers had 15 fucking points at halftime.
Right. After that Hail
And
Mary.
I'm just like, I was literally like, it's going to be the combination of both of these things, like either one of them if I had picked correctly. And then he just
didn't do anything in the second half.
Nothing in the second half.
Which is great because I was also, the same thing was true for Josh Allen. Like in the first half, he was on his way, I think, to like,
yeah, he had like 20 in the first half.
yeah, and I'm like, okay, so I'm losing to Brad. Like this is happening for the second week in a row. I'm gonna lose on Monday night, and then
I told you, man. I have, if I have any stake in somebody, they're gonna fall just short.
What
Seriously,
I will say,
I was mentioning this last night. I could, like, don't get me wrong, I've been unlucky with injuries and everything, but this is a product of my own bad decisions. I could just as easily be 4-2 right now. Like small, simple decisions. I start Keenan Allen, I get a win. Last week, if I start Trevor Lawrence over Aaron Rodgers, I get a win. In week 1, I guess I should have paid more attention, switched out the flex position. I really believed that Christian McCaffrey was going to play, but if I was able to start Zach Moss in the flex that week, I get a win. Like I have been my own worst enemy in this process.
I mean, I will say in fairness, like 110 shouldn't be enough for a win. As someone who just won with 118, like I should have lost this week probably.
I don't know
it's close.
That's true. Though.
110 is not what it used to be.
I saw, and I'm wondering why that is, because I saw a thing. Well, obviously we went to 2 quarterbacks. Never mind. Yeah, no, that's probably the difference. Never mind.
Yeah, I mean, because here, let me just looking at the scoreboard from this week, right? You were 1, 2, 3rd from the bottom in scoring. You were 8th in scoring. So like. Yeah. I'm not saying that, like, look, I get it.
No, but I'm also thinking I was, like I said, this simple decision would have given me an extra 10 points.
Absolutely.
Should be enough
like,
for a win.
You were playing 7th in scoring. Like, you should have still gotten the win. I don't dispute that. I'm just saying, like, one of the biggest problems that you have going into this situation, and it's because your team has been banged up to hell, is you're playing in this massive hole from, like, points scored perspective. Like,
yeah. And that's why I was saying, I think the fact that I'm only, what actually is it from 5th right now?
You're from 5th. You're 2 games. You're 2 games from 5th.
Literally two games. Like
but,
I get a lucky 3-4 game stretch, and I'm right back in. There's 8 weeks to go, right? I think. Or how many weeks is it?
Right. It's 14 weeks in the regular season total, so 8 weeks to go.
Yeah.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Yeah.
But,
and we'll get into the future stuff, but yeah, I mean, I got. In theory, Cooper Kupp might be back this week. I don't know if Christian McCaffrey's ever actually coming back, but hopefully he does.
Yeah.
We can move on.
Yeah, just talking about Zach's team. He mentioned in the chat, and there are a couple things here that I wanted to pick up in the chat just really quick. And I'll if you want to take a minute and think about this one. Jason Smith didn't get the Braylon Allen start. Windows suggested there were better options on the waiver, but whatever.
I mean, not if he's getting 10 touches. I don't think there was better options. No, if I knew he was going to only get 3 touches, sure.
Right. But moving to Zach's team, he mentioned he had Harris and Laporta in at one point and swapped them out last minute, and they both obviously put up numbers, although I don't think he would have started. It would have probably been, I would assume, for Eckler. I don't think
you... Yeah, which when Eckler was getting the start, I don't think you were ever actually going to start Najee Harris over him.
You could do it. I wouldn't do it.
I don't think so.
Laporta over Kraft, I would have started Laporta, I think. But again, it doesn't matter. He got the win. Zach's team is Zach's team, right? Like, it doesn't. When you look at the roster, aside from his running backs, it doesn't strike fear into anyone. But at the same, that's also my team. Like, I don't know that mine is like people are scared to play my team, but he just finds a way to win games.
He's a box. We get it.
But
he got to play against the 8th in scoring this week. It's a win.
But I do think, Saquon, Kamara, and Drake London are the real deal, and Jalen Hurts is going to put up numbers. So it'll be interesting to see with Zach and I at the top of the table, kind of how that shakes out. Which we're both, I think, punching above our weight in terms of where our teams are, to see if there's any kind of regression to the mean. Alrighty, so now let's go to our fourth matchup of Alex and James. And Alex is, don't look now, but Alex, I believe, is on a 3-game win streak. He started the season 0-3. He has won 3 straight. All of a sudden, Alex comes out of the basement. I picked him to be top 3. Maybe he goes to 11-3 the rest of this year.
I think that's a little premature. But no, I mean, he got some big performances. Looks like Terry McLaurin is going to be one of the better receivers, actually having a real quarterback throwing to him. I mean, even DJ Moore didn't even have a great week. Still gets the win.
We're going to talk about DJ Moore later, by the way. But Breece Hall.
But no, Breece Hall finally coming alive.
Yep.
Like
Justin Fields. The big
Breece
question.
Hall looked like a. Actually, I guess he had a couple of good weeks. He had a couple of down weeks. He's been a roller coaster, I guess.
The thing with Alex's team that I'm curious about is there's speculation about, is Justin Fields going to be the starter? Like, is he going to continue to be the starter? I don't know how you bench him.
I don't know how you bench him.
He's
Aren't
4-2, and he's like 10 tutties, 1 interception. I think, like, he's playing well enough to earn the job. If I'm Mike Tomlin, I'm continuing to ride Justin Fields until and unless we go on a losing streak. But that's actually a saving grace, because his backup is Tua, who is still out 1 more week. So one of the biggest things with Alex, when I thought he was dead in the water, it was because it was week 3, he was 0-3, and Tua went out. And it's like, okay, yeah, you're done. Like, you're going to start Joe Burrow and Justin Fields, and Joe Burrow was not looking good to start the year. And since then, his team has kind of come back to life. Stephon Diggs benefiting from Nico Collins' absence. Yeah, Alex is back.
I think his trajectory is on the way up, and it's literally what I was just talking about. You get a couple of games, things go your way, you're right back in the hunt.
Yeah. And on the other hand, James,
running backs look solid. Wide receivers can't catch a cold.
Yeah.
I mean, he left Deontay Johnson on his bench.
Quarterbacks look great too, for what it's worth. Yeah. He got 50 out of his quarterbacks. He got 44 out of his running backs.
I think there's a non-zero chance that he starts both Bijan and Tyler Algier next week.
Could happen. I mean, I would do that instead of Brian Robinson maybe after last week when he got him an ice bagel.
Didn't he get hurt?
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, if he's still hurt, you can start 3 running backs. Why not? And then probably Tyler Algier has clearly carved out a role in that offense, much to my chagrin and much to how I think it's malpracticed by the Atlanta Falcons. Well, here's the thing. I said last week on the pod.
But, like, God damn it, that's another thing. He started a player that wasn't playing this week. Why did this happen? Why did so many people do this week? This is making me angry. Set your lineups.
One thing that I said last week.
That's a 1 p.m. game on Sunday. There's no excuse to be starting somebody who's not playing. At least I get it for the Monday night game.
Because you don't have anything else left in the tank, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, if they find out, like, look at me with Christian McCaffrey. If it's last minute and you find out your guy's out, you kind of got to do what you got to do. But Brian Robinson, 1 p.m. game, scratch, like, enough to the point that Zach started Austin Eckler.
Yeah. So, one thing I'll say about James's team before we move on is just, I was not a believer in his wide receivers from the jump. I mentioned on the podcast last week, like, Brian Thomas, like, Darnell Mooney is apparently having the season of his lifetime. And Mike Evans got kind of...
Down week.
Mike Evans had down week because Godwin got all the work. But I think Thomas and Mooney, this was their normal regression. There are going to be weeks like this for him. And if you have your quarterbacks putting up 50, your running backs putting up 40 plus, and you can't get a win, you can't get 125 when you have like 90
and I think something
right there.
I'm gonna like public shame James right now because it's just very clear he didn't look at his lineup at all. Because AJ Brown played and he's sitting in his IR. Got him 20 points. I'm assuming that if he was actually thinking right, that looking at his lineup, AJ Brown would have been.
And that's the difference.
And that's the difference. Come on.
But again, this is actually a pod to remember because Scotty didn't set his lineup, got a loss. It wouldn't have changed anything. But this one, he did not start a player that is a no-brainer start when healthy.
Yeah. And you obviously would have plugged that in right into your flex for a guy that didn't play.
Lost that game because of it. So if James misses the playoffs by 1 game or misses the wild card by 20 points.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. He would have been second in points.
This could be the moment where it's like you had it in your hands. So
4-2 looks a whole lot better than 3-3.
Bookmark this. Let's go to the last matchup. It was McMillan falling to Window. And this was J.C. Penni history.
What the fuck happened? Who is Trey Tucker and why did he play? Did he get hurt? I mean, his status says healthy right now.
I think it was because Trey Tucker, I'm assuming, was a play because both Devontae and who's the wide receiver I have? Jacoby Myers were both out due to injury in Las Vegas. They got to throw the ball to somebody. So
yes, but leaving Michael Pittman on the bench for Trey Tucker is a surprise.
I think he thought they have
not that it makes the difference.
They have to throw to somebody. So like he figured.
Did Rashad White play or was he out this week?
That I don't know.
He did not play this week. Another at least 3 times people play people who did not play this week. Play me when you do that. God damn it! What is this shit? Zach's on fucking vacation in the middle of the fucking Grand Canyon and sets his lineup.
I will say though, I don't think I have ever seen, I don't know that we ever will see again, a
triple bagel.
A triple bagel. That is, there was, I don't know if you guys saw in the group I posted, there was a guy who had like, he put up like
the worst lineup of all time.
It was like 1.2 points with like it was all these 0 players that we had this week, or players who got injured. It was like ETN, Dak, Chris Olave, Marvin Harrison Jr. was there. Yeah.
I mean, again, not that it makes the difference this week because he wasn't going to catch Window, but like Antonio Gibson moves up to replace Rashad White. You plug in Michael Pittman, even starting Trey Tucker. It still made sense if you start everybody else the way you would think that you would start them.
Right. I mean, the bottom line for McMillan, though, is he just, especially with Neighbors out, and this is what I feared for him, with Neighbors out, he really doesn't have enough in the tank to get wins. Like,
I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. getting an injury early, what are you going to do?
But even then...
Antonio Gibson, you expected more with Ramondre out with injury as well.
Put up. I'll give you 20 points for Marvin Harrison right now, and I'll let you do the 11 for Michael Pittman. Give him 31 extra points. What does that put him at? 113. He still loses this week. Like,
right, sure.
I'm just saying, like, I don't know that until Neighbors gets back. I don't know.
And then he also, in theory, might be getting Nick Chubb. I'm just saying.
That's true. I mean, he's got to do something at this point. He needs help, and it's not going to get easier because he plays me this week. Like, not that I'm anything to write home about, but I am the leading scorer in the league in terms of total points scored. So
yeah, there's literally no way that you lose to him this week.
I mean, shut up. But his matchups coming up, he's got me, then he's got Alex, who's the objectively hottest team in the league right now, and then Jason, who is good on paper. So like, it ain't gonna get easier. This was one where I thought Windows' team was beatable. And as for Windows, speaking of which, man, he just has some guys that can eat, right? Like, this was a matchup he should have lost. His 2 QBs are on bye. He's starting a running back at Superflex. And granted, it's Derrick Henry, but like...
It's helpful.
He survived with 1 QB. And all that money he spent on Tank Bigsby went to shit. Because he didn't end up starting him, and he only put up 2.4. But Window wins, and now Window's wide receivers are actually... Like, Window's lineup is now scary. Like, this was the week to beat Window for McMillan. Because now he's got Mahomes and Mahomes and Darnold, I guess, as his quarterbacks. His running backs are going to be Mason while he's there, but that won't last much longer. But he's still got, Kenneth Walker, Derrick Henry, and if he wants to plug him in, Travis Etienne, assuming he still plays, which is doubtful. But you don't want to start. You want to start 4 wide receivers instead? Okay. How about Debo, Tank Dell, Devontae Adams in New York, and then Dontavian Wicks at the flex? Like, he's got players now. Trey McBride, good tight end. Niners defense, one of the best defenses in fantasy. Like, Window's not going away. And you have him without his quarterbacks. You have him with ETN putting up negative. Dontavian Wicks putting up 1.5, and you can't get a win because you have 3 ice bagels. This was your chance to get back in it, McMillan. I think that ship just sailed. Anything else you want to say about this matchup before we go to the slap bet statuses? No. So, I don't know if anyone understood...
Pow.
What?
Pow.
Pow.
Are you saying pow?
Pow, pow, pow.
Pow, pow, pow.
So, I don't know if anyone... I just lost my train of thought. Oh my gosh, it's getting late.
That won't be the only time that happens on the pod.
All right.
We can make a slap bet about that if you want.
No. So, let's go to... I don't know. Oh, I remember now. I don't know if anyone got the title of this episode. I was going to do a video, post the video for it, but it's not that funny. There's a thing. It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? It was a thing that they said back in PSAs in the 80s. So...
Damn it, Window.
Anyway, yeah, there you go. So it's week 7. Do you know where your slap bets are? These are the 6 slap bets. Well, let me really quick before we go into the canonical 6. I lost a slap bet to Jason Smith, and it was the secret slap bet. This is one that I couldn't say to anyone. Jason and I couldn't say to anyone because of the risk that it might affect the outcome until after it was decided. I bet Jason that Window would not start 2 QBs in week 1. He did, in fact, start 2 QBs in week 1.
Of course he did.
Because, it's a thing. So, and I get it, but he ended up losing to me, so it worked out. But I also have Jason now slapping me. So,
nice.
Take the good with the bad. Now let's get to what I would call the canonical 6. Oh, hold on.
I mean, how come you guys didn't resolve that slap bet? Like when we all were together.
We're working on it. So, first slap bet. McMillan bet me.
There's supposed to be a graphic?
It's on the stream. It's not on. Sorry, you're going to have to watch on the stream.
I'm watching the stream.
It should come up soon. It should be up on the...
I don't know how big of it. There we go. Okay.
So, this slap bet was McMillan betting me that Jalen Hurts would outscore Lamar Jackson, given that I drafted Lamar at the 101. Let's see where they are. As you'll see, Lamar is QB1 right now, sitting at 24 points per game. Now, it helps, this isn't as drastic. This isn't as drastic as it looks. Hurts has had his bye, Lamar has not. So, so there's a bye still that Hurts can catch up a little bit, and this is quarterback. 30 points a week aren't out of the question. You can make up this difference in 2 to 3 weeks, but Lamar is scoring 6 more points a game, and is comfortably in the lead right now. So, looking pretty good there so far. Next, we move to Alex and James. This is actually my favorite of the canonical 6 slap bets this season at the draft. The reason this is my favorite is because this is actually a 2.0 slap bet. This is a redo of the slap bet they made last year that was so close that I believe James won and slapped Alex at the draft. So it is again on DJ Moore
Alex
outscoring.
bet against Mike Evans, Tampa Bay again.
They ran it back. They ran the same players back because I think they drafted them both again. And what's really interesting is last year they both overperformed expectations. I'm actually going to take a second here before I show the results. Sorry, let me move this out of the way. Before I show the results in this one, I just want to look and see when they were drafted this year. Because I'm pretty sure they've massively underperformed their expectations now, but I just want to make sure. So,
I don't know, Mike Evans was 43rd overall.
Yeah, Mike Evans was 43, DJ Moore was 48. Here's where they are.
Both fifth-round picks. I mean, I don't think that they're dramatically underperforming.
Well, let me ask this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Evans drafted as wide receiver 14, 15, 16, 17, and Moore at 18. So wide receiver 14 and 18 is where they were drafted. James is right on the money. Mike Evans right now, wide receiver 13, 12.3 points per game. Currently in the lead by, I mean, we're talking, 8 points? But DJ Moore, slightly worse, wide receiver 21, 11 points per game. It's still very close. I mean, this is a 1 week could, change this whole... 1 week could be enough to tip the scales. But that's where we're at as of right now. But it's very interesting that, this is my favorite one because of the history on it. So, moving on. This is the Chiefs slap bet between Scotty and Window. Scotty bet Window that Crashy Rice will outscore Xavier Worthy. And I feel
injuries. Come on.
I will wait for it. Just wait for it though, because here's the thing. At the draft, I feel like every one of these draft every one of these slap bets, every Chiefs wide receiver was kind of a lottery ticket, right? We were all hoping for that guy that was going to have the rapport with Patrick Mahomes. But like you identified, this one it looks close now, but as you'll see, there
Rice is on injured reserve.
And he is done for the year. So it's not over yet, to be fair. Rashee Rice currently is in the lead. He's scoring 13.2 a game. He's wide receiver 31 still, 52.9. Window needs Worthy to get 0.9 points. And at that point, given that Rashee Rice is done for the year, that's over, right? So
I think it's over. So Window's gonna slap Scotty in his face.
Pretty much.
Which honestly, Scotty deserves.
All right. So now moving on to number 4. This is the first of 2 bets between Scotty and Jason Smith. Scotty made a lot of slap bets. And I do want everyone, if anything I say is wrong in any of these, please let me know. I hear in the chat that Jerry's voice is a little quiet, so I'm turning him up, and let me know if you can still hear him.
I'll also move my mic a little closer if I need to.
So, why is Sean talking to himself? Sorry, I'm trying to fix it. So, this was Scott betting Jason Smith that Kenneth Walker would outscore Joe Mixon this season. Interesting slap bet. Again, looking at where they were drafted. Let me pull it up.
I think there's a clear front runner on this right now.
Joe Mixon was drafted at the 601. Kenneth Walker at the 604. And we're talking running back 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Running backs 15 and 16 were where they were drafted. Mixon and Walker, respectively. Mixon was drafted earlier. The truth is, Kenneth Walker has been significantly better. Not on a points per game basis, but because he has played more games. I do
Only
think
by 1 though.
Didn't Mixon
Walker missed 2. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Man, sorry. Walker missed 2 games, but I think Joe Mixon has missed 2 games.
So this one...
No, Joe Mixon has missed 3 games.
This one could absolutely go either way. based on the points per game basis. I was wondering if the Texans had their bye yet.
Does not look like it.
So, but in any event, this one absolutely could go either way. It really just depends on how the season shakes out. But it is very interesting that they're scoring about the same amount of points per game basis, but Scotty right now in the lead. Now to the second of the Scott and Jason Smith slap bets. This was Jason Smith betting Scott that Kirk Cousins would outscore Anthony Richardson. I'm going on these based off what was written on the draft board. If anyone thinks these are incorrect, please let me know. But this is what was written on the draft board, which makes sense because Scotty drafted Anthony Richardson. So, where do they end up? Well, right now, Kirk O'Chains is very much in the lead.
Anthony Richards can't stay on the field.
Correct. And that was part of the thing. That was part of the reason why I think the slap bet was made, because it wasn't about their ability to score on a given week. It was about the fact the health issues of Anthony Richardson and the concerns of this was McMillan? I'm sorry. I was wrong. This was Jason McMillan who oh, that makes it so much worse. Oh no.
Scotty
said, yeah, this one was McMillan. And I think he's going to take my head off. McMillan, get ready, Scott. Oh,
they're still saying my mic's not working, dude.
I don't. Let me try to fix it.
Can you guys really not hear me? I have the mic 3 feet from me now. Oh, I might have muted myself, actually. Hold on.
You're not muted. They can. I don't think. I see your audio coming in. I will try to.
Yeah, my Zoom says it's working.
Let me see. I'll try to talk one more time.
I am here.
Talk again.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't do anything to raise it up. I apologize.
He's saying that it's faint.
I know. I get it. I don't know how to fix it right now.
I can talk into the mic.
Yeah, just keep doing that. Yell loudly.
Okay. What?
So, McMillan's going to slap the hell out of
McMillan's
Scotty.
definitely going to slap Scotty.
And then the last one, and I didn't.
There's an echo now. God damn it!
I didn't get to finish this one. I didn't get Cooper Kupp and Jalen Waddle here because I was time crunched. But this was Jason Smith betting me that Cooper Kupp would outscore Jalen Waddle. This was an ugly slap bet in terms of the results so far. Cooper Kupp has put up 30.7 points. He's put up 15.4 points a game. He just hasn't seen the field because of the injuries. But he's currently wide receiver 73. Jalen Waddle is less than 7 points ahead of him. He's only putting up 7.4 a week, obviously because of Tua's injury. The real question mark is how this one. This is one that's really interesting because of the fact that Tua is coming back. Not this coming week, but probably the following week he'll be back.
There's talks. Right now he is projected to score points this week.
I'm saying Kupp, right? But Waddle also is still playing, and more importantly, when Tua comes back, should return to close to his normal value. So the question really is how this one shakes out. I do think Jason Smith's probably the favorite here. I think Kupp's going to miss the first half of the fantasy season. Is still going to win this slap bet. Yeah. So Jason might get to slap me twice. So that's the canonical 6 of the slap bets so far. I will
talk about mine and Alex.
Yours and Alex is already over. Obviously, you beat Alex.
So your one with Jason was already over.
My one with with Jason was already over about Windows. I didn't have a graphic for that one or this one, and I also didn't go through the podcast ones yet. I was hoping that anyone from the league, would take some initiative and help me out by going through the podcast, doing some research, finding the slap bets. No one did it, so I'm going to have to do it this week. So stay tuned. There will be a part 2 of this for those slap bets that were made during the week. But spoiler alert,
It's hard to remember the podcast slap bets. Like when you're in the middle of the pod.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why and it was hard for me to remember those. So that's why I have to go through and actually listen to the podcast and find them all, or go through the chats and find them all. But in the meantime, we do know, spoiler alert, Jerry's going to slap Alex. And there are a couple more that were made, and I will give you updates on where those stand. So that's where the slap bets so far this season stand. Yeah, Zach, I already said I didn't get the Cup and Waddle graphic right. I was in a rush to get to the pod. So, turn on transcripts and Control F for slap bet. Easy. Okay. Like, all right. Anyway.
Yeah, Jason, do that.
Yeah, do it.
I don't know how. I don't understand how to do standard deviations, okay? we talked about this.
Let's go to the offer report. So, this was I got to be honest with how crazy things have been. I didn't look at the waiver wire. I didn't put in any bids. I don't think anyone big was on it. Demario Douglas got some action. Those are the highest
Windows
bids.
out here betting $74 on everybody again.
Windows going to run out of money soon.
Probably.
I do love, one of my favorite parts about Windows big money edition this week was it's Tyler Lockett, right? Who he dropped.
Yeah.
Oh, no. It gets better. It gets better.
I tried to pick him up too.
It gets better. He dropped Tyler Lockett. He spent $74 to pick him back up. Pretty sure I saw on today on when I was leaving the office, he dropped him again this afternoon.
He dropped Tyler Lockett today?
Pretty sure he did. So, that's great.
I'm gonna snipe him.
Window out here just throwing his money away.
There's no way he dropped him.
I'm pretty sure he did. I could be wrong. Yeah. And no, he's been picked up now.
Wait, already?
Yeah.
How?
Apparently.
Is it only one day?
Apparently because he was dropped right away, he went to free agency. I don't know. It says, I'm looking at the transaction report. Window dropped him at 3:19 p.m. today. At 6:46 p.m., McMillan added him.
That shouldn't happen. There should be some amount of a waiver period.
It might have been that if you drop somebody you picked up on waivers the same day that you added them, maybe, or something like that. I don't know, to prevent people from if you hold less than 24 hours, they go to free agency. So
I don't know how I feel about that.
So.
Okay.
But yeah, so Window just basically wasted $74. So yes, and Jason, that made sense to me. That the reason for that rule is you can't roster churn to lock up players.
Yeah, I get the reasoning behind that, but I think there should be some limit to that. Like I get, you can't just drop all the quarterbacks so no one else can pick up a quarterback.
Nor would we do that.
I feel like that's also a thing though when it's closer to the game time, when it's on the weekend. Having that happen on a Wednesday is kind of surprising to me.
Well, here's the good news.
Wednesday to Wednesday, because even if it was okay, he goes back to waivers just for Thursday, 1 day later even. I'm a little surprised.
Here's the good news. If you want Tyler Lockett, he's on McMillan's team, and McMillan's team is garbage, so you can probably trade for him and give up somebody.
I didn't want him enough to bet $61 on him. I'm not trading somebody for him.
So other interesting bids. Alex adds Drake May. Jerry Jeudy now back on a roster.
A lot of people wanted Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, 3. It was Scotty, Alex, and Window. Zach with a big boy bet on the Bengals D, who was the prize defense of the this week. Sniped him from Jason Smith, and then you got who else?
Actually, Zach just made a very valid point in the chat. I bid on Tyler Lockett. If he immediately drops him, should not my bid not stand valid instead of a free agent pickup?
I mean, that's
weird. It's just a weird situation.
I don't disagree that in a perfect world that should occur, but Window won the player in the auction, and therefore Window got the spending.
It's just I don't know. I still think that on a Wednesday it should go to waivers into Thursday.
I don't disagree. I don't.
I totally get Sunday. You can't just sit. Obviously that there's a prevention method there on Sundays to prevent roster churn, to stop people from being able to add people. Totally get that. On Wednesday, that's just wild to me.
But ESPN doesn't have that functionality.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you might be able to change the functionality on that part of the adding the waiver period on a Thursday.
maybe
There definitely is a waiver period on a Friday. I
Scott
know that's a thing.
Scotty said he likes that rule for next year if possible, but again, I can only operate within the confines of ESPN functionality. I can't. I mean, I don't know that I can manually change Fab.
We can look into it later.
Yeah, I don't know that I can manually change Fab budgets. Anyway,
we can look into it later.
Let's get to predictions. Starting, as is always the case, I need to fix this, with my matchup. So, oops, I'm making a mess. So, I've got my McMillan bye, and I say that knowing that I'm probably going to lose because
there's no situation. There's like no world where
the more you speak this into existence, the more I'm likely to lose.
I mean, ignoring the fact that your team is just way better than his, look at who he is starting. There are 5 questionable people that he is currently starting.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't see a world where you lose this matchup.
I mean, I definitely could see it happening. But
I will make you a slap bet.
That I win?
Yeah. If McMillan wins, you can slap me.
No. No, I think I'm absolutely the favorite, obviously. It's that I don't think it's like...
So you're saying no?
I am saying no, I'm not going to make that slap bet.
I mean, it was I didn't even say like... I mean, I was just saying if McMillan wins, you can slap me, but okay.
Oh, well, yeah, I'll accept.
Offer's been
There's no consideration also in that offer. I'm not giving up anything, you know.
Yeah, I literally gave you a free roll, and you were like, absolutely not.
I don't want to hurt my friends. I definitely I am the favorite, and I've got some intriguing matchups. I think the Eagles could do well against the Giants defense. I think Kansas City and San Fran could be a shootout that might bode well for George Kittle. You know, the question I have is if Neighbors plays, if Harrison plays, if all these guys who are questionable do end up playing, which is possible,
he still loses.
I don't know.
There's no world where you don't win this matchup.
Okay.
It's already been decided. Okay. Honestly, McMillan should just bench
also,
all those guys right
FYI,
now.
I'm on a 1 quarterback week this week, remember. Dak is on bye, Derek Carr is doubtful.
Okay, I don't understand why Derek Carr is not in your IR spot and you're not.
Because he's not he's not out yet. He's doubtful. B, even if I could put him into the IR, I have Hawkins in there, and I've got to drop somebody. So
yeah, I think
I'm right now.
I think you also can make a game time decision about.
Yeah, that's where I'm leaning. If I want to make a game time decision on a quarterback, I can do that. But the quarterbacks that are available right now, as of this taping, are, let's see, I've got Deshaun Watson, I've got Grover Cleveland, I've got Snoop Hundley, I've got Aiden O'Connell.
Don't worry, McMillan. I'm just trying to jinx Sean.
Russell Wilson, I know, Will Levis, Spencer Rattler. Like, you know, I could start one of those guys, but is it that big of a difference from Jalen Waddle? Maybe. From Juju? Maybe. Anyway.
I don't know. Joe Flacco's been okay.
I'm going to go me, but yeah. I'm assuming you're predicting me to win.
Give me McMillan.
For real?
Yeah, fuck your team. You deserve
After all that, then you predict McMillan to win. I love it.
Exactly.
All right. In the other 5-1 matchup, Zach is playing against Scotty. Scotty's actually right now, as of 8 o'clock when I took these screenshots, is the favorite by less than 3. Big Tony is scheduled to play and is not in his lineup. I don't know if that's deliberate or not. James Cook is also scheduled to play and projected way higher and is questionable and is not in his lineup.
So there's some points that could be added in.
Pickens also on his bench too. Team. Yeah.
I think the thing that we always have to remember is that, you know,
no one sets their lineup before Wednesday night.
But you know, that too. Set your lineups, guys. Come on. But yeah, Zach's a box, and Zach's gonna win because he's a box. I never play against a top 5 opponent week to week. So
Shahid not playing. I already switched him out before the pod. You probably switched him out within the last hour then because I took these screenshots at 8 o'clock tonight. So, a lot could change in Scotty's lineup. I'm looking at the matchups.
That's literally what we just said.
That's what he said. It's also what he said in the chat.
I know. I was responding to him.
Oh.
It's like we literally just said a lot can change in his lineup. He's like, no, but a lot do. But I think the thing you guys aren't taking into account is that a lot can change in the lineup.
One really interesting factor here is they're basically averaging the same number of points as the lineups were set. Give me Scotty.
No, Zach's a box. Zach's gonna win.
Okay. Going to matchup number 3. This is a big win for both these teams, kind of mid-table. Jason trying to build some momentum after his win last week. James trying to not lose again. He wants to never lose again.
I want to never lose again.
Shout out to Shorzy. So, the reason I'm not using the live lineup...
Jason, I think what we're going to do is that we're going to continue this pod, and Jason's going to be the production.
Yeah.
So Jason's going to do production, and we're going to be the talent. It's going to be perfect.
I love the criticism of, why not use the live lineups? Okay, I can put the browser on there if you want to see.
Why isn't your podcast way better, guys? I don't understand.
Why don't
I could do this in my sleep?
Here's an idea. Why not the deadline of 9 p.m.
No, the deadline is 7 p.m.
Yeah, just do it earlier. Set your lineups.
Nothing changed between 7 and 9, guys. Practices are done for the day. Reports are already out on the practices.
I take screenshots of all these.
Right after work.
Just don't have to look at my browser during. Anyway, so maybe I'll just go back to the browser. Whatever. So, looking at this one, I really do think it's Jason Smith's game to lose. Jaden Daniels is him. He gets Sun God back. Yes, CD is on a bye. That's actually the biggest thing he's got going against him is he has the worst bye situation with CD and Caleb Williams, but Caleb Williams has been
he hasn't been starting Caleb Williams.
Nor should he.
It's not a huge drop for him.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm going with Jason this week. I think his team is just better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's better on paper.
And you know what's probably going to happen is Deontay Johnson's not going to play and James is going to leave him in. So
now let's get to your matchup. Projection was close as of an hour ago. It was a 2.7 point line. This is a big one for you because it's to again start to build that.
I got to get a win this week.
Yeah.
If I'm going to have any shot at the playoffs, I got to get a win this week. I mean, I'm hoping Cooper Kupp plays. I'm hoping he actually has a good game. I don't know what to think of Zach Moss. He just didn't get touches in this last game. Getting Kareem Hunt back is nice. Coming back off the bye. I'm a little. I mean, I think New England is. I don't know what to think if I'm going to start Trevor Lawrence or Aaron Rodgers. I just never know what to fucking do, man. I know I'm starting Brock Purdy every week, but it's just a coin flip between who's going to play better this week, Trevor Lawrence or Aaron Rodgers. Of course, Keenan Allen has a good game and then goes on by. Fuck my life. Yeah, I don't know. I gotta have it. Gotta have a win this week. Windows team looking like a lot of questionable marks down there.
I actually lean window, and it's just because I do think the clock is ticking on Windows team a little bit. I said before I do think he's got a good team, and I stand by that statement. Where I don't think Tank Bigsby is a good start, but I also think he's starting Xavier Worthy right now. You know who he could be starting? Devontae Adams, who is likely to play in New York, from what I've heard.
So Tank Bigsby, I think, is not a terrible start. He had a huge week against Indy, got 15 touches, 14 touches, something like that. I think there was a lot of game script, and if Etienne's hurt and not playing, Bigsby makes sense because who else does he have to start? Charbonnet?
He needs a trade for a running back.
I mean, Jordan Mason's questionable right now, so who knows if he's going to start him or not.
You're telling me you can't parlay one of your star wide receivers into another running back? I mean, or you could actually, you know what you do? Move Henry from the flex to the running back 2, and then put Devontae Adams in your flex. How's that for a lineup?
Well, I mean, assuming Devontae is, I don't know. So obviously, a part of Devontae Adams not playing for the Raiders is that he wanted a trade. We know that. The other part of it is he does have a hamstring injury,
Right.
and he's 32 years old.
Right.
Like, I don't know that he's gonna step on the field for the Jets 3 days after being traded and immediately be a wide receiver one. Call me crazy. I don't know. I don't. I think this is probably his best lineup right now, especially with Jordan Mason kind of being questionable with the AC joint injury. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I do think ultimately though Window has some. You both have some good matchups. I mentioned the Kansas City and San Francisco game, potentially being a shootout. I think Minnesota and Detroit could actually be an intriguing one to watch.
I think there'll be a lot of offense there.
But I just don't. I do think it honestly one of the biggest factors for me is if Window starts Adams or Bigsby, because if I don't think Bigsby's going to have a lot of success running the ball against New England.
Somebody's got to run the ball though.
Fair. But I'll go Window.
For the first time this season, I am picking myself because I need a win. I have to have it.
Window, I understand you have two running backs. What I'm saying is I think you're deeper at wide receiver than running back.
This is a part of the reason why I was like, maybe we shouldn't interact with the chat all the time. Like, we just said that.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes they'll say things after, and like because we're on a delay, they don't see it until after they're typing it in before we say it.
Last one, big matchup. Brad didn't set his lineup as of 8. I don't know if he's done it now. I'll take a look. It's Brad versus Alex. Right now, when I did this, the margin was 20. I'll look at the live one now and see if I can put that up for y'all.
Yeah, I mean, he's got Justin Jefferson coming back into the lineup. That's adding at least 10 points. Achan, probably. I mean, if he's coming back into the lineup, I mean, I think those are the only two that he really would be starting this week in place of anybody out there. So, but that's 13. So add 23 to his score essentially. So I mean, pretty close. Projections.
It's still the same as it was before. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. I'm looking at it at it live right now.
So. I'm gonna go Brad.
I was also leaning Brad. I don't like starting Drake May.
I also just think that.
I mean, I think he did okay for his first game, right?
Yeah, he did fine for his first game.
19 and a half, not bad.
The real issue is I think Brad has the more talented team when you take out Keon Coleman and throw in Justin Jefferson.
You add in Justin Jefferson and Achan. I think obviously he has the better team.
Yeah, and I just think Alex is due to cool down a little bit.
A little bit of regression. Winning 3 in a row with the roster that he's had, I think going 4-0 would be pretty wild.
Yeah. And that's it. A tight podcast in an hour and 3 minutes. So sorry for the technical glitches tonight. We had a couple.
Same. Jason, we're hiring you as our production manager.
Yeah. Good luck. Create some graphics. But no, that's our show. Thanks for watching. Good luck in your matchups. Next week, Jerry will be on a cruise. And we are doing the Amber Rift grading extravaganza. So we're going to do our mid-season grades. Tune in for that. It's going to be a fun time with Alex McMillan and I. And
I'll be doing a little write-up of grades. Just 1 to 2 sentences per like a grade, and then 1 to 2 sentences. If you want to put those into your guys' content, you can if you want.
Sure, no problem. And trying to think if there's anything else. Oh yeah, there was one last thing. I had mentioned, I think I posted in the chat. We're doing a league event in Frederick.
Yeah, when I'm gone, thanks.
I mean, don't be gone.
No, you.
This is one of those things. You actively chose to go somewhere. You actively chose this. You know what you say about us having kids?
I planned this 6 months ago.
Well, you actively chose it.
Just do it the first weekend of November.
No. I'm gone that weekend. I am gone that weekend.
Why?
Going to a bachelor party.
Whose bachelor party?
Tommy Denbeck.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So league event the 27th of October. come over, come to Frederick, come to my house. We'll have food. I'm sure we'll get like pizza or something like that. I'm sure we'll have some apps and desserts. And we'll have a good time. So, yep, that's it. Book it, ship it, and we'll see you next week. Now I'm going to go to the outro so Jerry can talk about Dune.